All right, so think about this. So do languages stay the same over time, right? So 50 years ago, was American English similar to what it is now? And no, it's not, right? It's been changing. It changes all the time, right? So if you think about even in the last 10 or 15 years, how languages changed with different generations and how people use things. I mean, how texting has changed languages and things like that. So language is changing over time. You can also think about how we refer to certain different items across the country, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So dialects are regional differences in sound, speed, syntax, and vocabulary. So syntax, just to make sure you know what that is, it's the grammatical arrangement of like a sentence. So if you say something like, I sing because I am happy, or you could say, I'm happy because I sing. You've said the exact same words, but you just arrange them differently, right? And they mean two different things. So that's what that means. And if you think about what dialects are, I mean, the common ones are how you say hi in the Midwest versus how you might say hi in the South. It's hi versus like howdy or y'all, or you might say you guys. And also a common one is how you refer to certain soft drinks around the country. In Minnesota, we say most likely we'll say pop. In Milwaukee, where I'm from, people will say soda, right? And also you can see here, I mean, if you think about it, even Minnesota has a very distinct kind of dialect. People will have a Minnesota. People oftentimes, if you travel, they can kind of pinpoint where you're from based on how you say certain things. All right, so after this video, this is a pretty short one as well. You can go to the US dialect video clip. It's in Schoology. It's only about 4 or 5 minutes long, and it's kind of a fun thing because it kind of shows you how people refer to different things across the country, right? So again, thinking about the soft drinks example, that's one, and then just numerous other examples of how we refer to different aspects or different common everyday items around the United States. So check that out in Schoology. Also today there's going to be extra credit. You can go to, the link is in Schoology and the assignment is in Schoology if you'd like to do extra credit. It's kind of a fun activity. What it is a survey on the New York Times. It's free to set up an account. So what you do is you set up a free account just using like your Google email address, and you would then take a short survey, and at the end it's going to spit out a map, and it's going to kind of try and map out your dialect and where it's most likely, what pattern your dialect most likely matches in the country. So this is mine, and mine shows that Minneapolis, Madison, and Milwaukee are all common, and that's kind of, actually I was born in Milwaukee, and so that is not uncommon. And so it actually kind of hits right at home of where I'm from. So it's all exactly my dialect matches exactly where I'm from. So somewhat accurate. And going back to that soft drinks example, so this is a map of how different places in the country refer to soft drinks. As you can see, blue refers to people who use the word pop when referring to soft drinks. So that's most of the Midwest right here, right? And so that's the Twin Cities. Where I'm from Milwaukee, we refer to it as soda. And then off on the West Coast, it's soda. The Northeast, soda. But then down south, they don't use pop or soda. They use Coke. Even though Coke to us is a brand, they refer to soft drinks as Coke. So if you ask for a Coke down there, they're gonna ask you what exactly do you want. To them, that's not just a brand; it's soft drinks in general, right? Another one when I was growing up was I one time went to somewhere and I asked them where their bubbler was, and they thought, "What is a bubbler?" Like I had to describe to them that's like I wanted to drink from a bubbler, and I finally had to realize that they call it a drinking fountain in Minnesota, but in Milwaukee, where I was from, we called it a bubbler. So things can get confusing if you don't use the right terms, right? So, all right. So moving on to thinking about also English in terms of American English versus like British English. If you've ever watched British comedy or British TV shows, and you wonder what they're saying sometimes. Even though they're using English, it sometimes can sound confusing because they have different words for different things. So for instance, we might call something, we use the word bathroom, they refer to it as a loo. An elevator is called a lift, counterclockwise, anti-clockwise, right? And there's numerous other ones. So even though we both speak English, we both have different vocabulary terms to describe something, right? So if you think about this example, my mom, called Elizabeth, is keen on washing up after fish and chips tea. In America, we would say, my mom, Liz, likes to wash the dishes after a fish fry dinner. So if you think about those two sentences, what differences do you see and what could explain these differences, right? And while they use different vocabulary and different spelling, even though they're kind of saying they're saying the exact same thing, right? And why does that really happen? Well, if you think about, there's the Atlantic Ocean between us, and we've kind of developed our own cultures over time. So in the last couple hundred years, or even in some cases, 30, 40 years, we've developed our own different languages. And we kind of we sometimes will export that to Britain, but most oftentimes the vocabulary pretty much stays with these areas. All right, so